Afternoon, everyone. I'm here to do my assignment for the comic book pages discussion, I suppose. I have found this to be one of the most difficult assignments I've done recently. Not in the sense of it actually being difficult or actually hard. It was difficult in the sense that I had to pick between two of my favorite comic book pages of all time. One from one of my favorite individual stories, Death of Superman. Absolutely fantastic, everyone should read it in my opinion. And one of my favorite long-running comic book series, actually my favorite long-running comic book series, Preacher. And I had trouble picking which one would be the best for this assignment, and I went back and forth on it. I talked to my friend about it, and ultimately I decided that the best option would be to do them both. I'm just going to do them both. So today, right now, we're going to do both of these, but first I'm going to do Preacher, because right next to me I have the entire series, so I can open it and look at the page we're talking about quite easily. If you'll just give me one moment. This is the aforementioned page. It doesn't look very good on my camera. I do apologize. The lighting's not great in here. I tried it with the light off, tried it with the light on. It's just not great. This scene depicts Herr Starr, which is considered to be the villain of this story at that point, throwing the morbidly obese person in charge of the organization, the Grail, out of a helicopter, which then he lands onto his subordinate and the incestuous son of Jesus Christ. Yeah, if you haven't read the description on the site yet, you're probably like, what? Yeah, no, this story's very complicated, and it's really weird, and pushes a lot of envelopes, so I do apologize if this is sensitive for some people, but it's just the way the story is. I love the imagery of this page, specifically, because the first image is a picture of Herr Starr zoomed in on his face, and it shows him saying, "All hail..." Oh, dang it. I'm having a brain fart. My apologies. It happens. This is what I get for not writing scripts. Blessed is All-Father Starr. Apologies. Which shows that, because up to this point in the story, Herr Starr had come off like he just wanted to do what was best for the world by replacing the descendant of Jesus Christ with Jesse Custer as the Messiah, giving them a more realistic Messiah, and not someone who is basically mentally disabled in almost every way. But this shows at this point that he wasn't just obsessed with trying to make the world better, he was also trying to push himself forward and gain power. It shows a lot about his character at that moment, and although it does go into it much later, I think this is still a good scene to start opening up some interesting characteristics of that character in particular. After that, we have what I consider to be a very interesting three images. The first one, not as important, it just shows the morbidly obese guy falling out of the helicopter, but the next two show the incestuous descendant of Jesus Christ saying to the subordinate, "Thou shalt be with me in paradise," to which he just says, "Great." It's not like a, "Great," it's "Great." Which just goes to drive in the main selling point of this whole story up to this point, which is, how far can you take a faith? How far can you stretch it and change it and do what you want with it before it's not the same thing you believed in? The people up to this point in the Grail, they had done everything they could to keep the blood of Jesus Christ alive by having them breed with themselves. And this is something that could very well happen, or have happened in real life. But as time went on, things started to happen worse and worse with the descendants, and it got to the point where nobody really had faith in them anymore. Although there were some of the devout believers who still thought that this was a good idea, most of the lower subordinates honestly had no faith in this person anymore and just didn't have any faith in the religion really at all. It's kind of hard to believe you're going to go to heaven and everything's going to be okay right next to the guy who wants to turn pee into wine. It's a little difficult. And that's what this entire series is about. Pushing the envelopes of belief, of faith, of how much a man can be taken to, how far you can take a society. It's just so fantastic. And this is one of the absolute perfect scenes to just sum up the entire tone of the series. I could not have picked a better one. I love it. The art is great. The tone is great. Everything is perfect about it. I'm sorry I'm going on so much about how I love this series. It's just, I just really do. And it's not often I get to talk about it, especially in a situation where I'm being graded. So this is, like, absolutely fantastic. I'm very happy right now. Like I said before, this is not a story that I would suggest to the faint of heart or someone who isn't, you know, accustomed to more darker tones and themes. So I wouldn't suggest this to everyone, but if you do like a good story with interesting twists, turns, and a good perspective on certain things, then I'd highly suggest this. It is one of the absolute